Hello, I'd like to thank you all for coming on out to the Studio 1101 final review. My name is JLebo, and in the series of pictures and slides, I will be talking you through the project sequence of the box and the hand. To begin this project sequence off, we created 18 contour drawings with the hand. These are 9 of my drawings. They were all made with graphite. In order to help me complete this assignment, I used things like guidelines as well as a lot of photo references, taking pictures of my hand and looking at it on a second screen. From there, we took wire, a malleable rebar tie wire, and created an abstraction of the contour drawings that we made to create a wireframe hand. My hand is a right hand that is sort of reaching out towards something, so that's why it's in that shape. I took several pictures of this hand as it interacted in space as well as it interacted with light, as you can see through the different shadows and conditions that it's hanging in. It's actually hanging from the ceiling in the bottom two pictures. Following the creation of this wireframe hand, we took looks into how it actually interacted more with space by studying it. This took the form of graphite studies on paper, as well as shadow studies. Then we later pulled those same images into Illustrator, where we looked at the regulating lines that are created by the presence of the hand and the shadow, leading to studies such as the one on the right. We were then tasked with creating a box for the wireframe hand. This started off with a process of making corner studies so that we wouldn't be just blindly creating frames that the box would be going into, and as well as putting into consideration different interesting conditions, since the box and the wire hand were supposed to complement each other. On the left you can see a journal page I made with my initial studies, as well as on the right you can see some rhino models that I made of the studies. The next step was the actual design of the box itself from the corner studies. I took a modification of one of the studies in the previous slide and used that as the basis for each of the different corners, and just kept on modifying them until they fit together. This is the first version of the box. There is a later revision which we'll get to later down in the line, but you can see here somewhat of how the box was put together at first. Of note, things I would like to talk about here is the condition created by the thin pieces on the bottom, as well as the pieces that are interrupting 4 of the 5 walls of the box. You can have a better look of what I'm talking about here. As you can see beneath the hand, there is almost like a platform, almost like a lattice, created there, as well as there's the one side, the way that the hand is pointing, almost like it is reaching out. There were several changes made to the box at this point, including moving everything upwards as to give the hand more room on the actual inside of the box, as well as the inclusion of another 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch piece in order to make the box slightly more symmetrical while still not being actually symmetrical. With these changes in mind, the physical model of the box was created out of basswood. These pieces were cut down and then glued together with wood glue and clamped together before the hand itself was inserted with a thin copper wire that was just stiff enough to hold it in place. I used 3 connections upon different places of the box in order to just hold it still. The hand itself is interacting with the box as if it was trying to reach out. At least that was what I was trying to go for. The next step of this project was to include a cladding on the box. This could take multiple forms, but we first need to understand how this cladding was derived. This cladding was derived based off of the studies that we had done earlier, as well as just observations of the physical box model, seeing what would look the best and what would work the best. Some material options included using vellum or a thin museum board, a 2-ply. I personally went with the vellum because it was more accessible for me. You can see a model of the clad box in the lower left corner. With the final clad Rhino model, we were tasked with creating a procession of views to show off various elements of the box. So I did one as sort of an approach and a walk around and then a peek under and through. The most striking features of this procession, I think, are not the box itself, rather the shadows that it casts due to the light source that is above it. This would be the end of my presentation. I want to thank you very much for coming out and taking a look at this all. From here, I'll be taking questions and feedback. Thank you very much.